So let me explain the situation. One of our contractors, Edwin Murray, has gone missing, leaving our property abandoned in his warehouse.
So we just got a brand new trailer for the next Five Nights at Freddy's game, Secret of the Mimic, and oh my, first things first, I want to say this game looks incredible. Like, I was expecting it to be good, but this has honestly exceeded my expectations. The chase sequence looks great and terrifying. Tiger Rock is as intimidating as I was hoping. And we even got a look at the mushroom. There's so much to discuss in this trailer, and I would like to get to that. But first things first, I want to cover something else. The blog post that was released alongside this trailer from Steelwool. So let's have a read. Enter the abandoned workshop of Murray's Costume Manor and unravel the mystery left behind by the reclusive inventor Edwin Murray. In Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, you'll step into a world where every dark corner holds a secret and every flicker of light hints at an ever-present threat. The Mimic, a prototype endoskeleton, can adapt to any costume and become any character, including what you fear most. Armed with only your wits, a few gadgets, and a heavily redacted corporate briefing, you'll attempt to retrieve Fazbear's prized prototype technology while grappling with cryptic clues and a relentless shadow determined to dispatch all unwanted company. Prepare for heart-pounding thrills as you explore the labyrinth of the deserted Costume Manor, discovering remnants of Edwin's unfinished work and eluding the monster he's created. Experience Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, survive the mystery and madness. Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic will be available for the PlayStation 5, Steam, and Epic Games Store on June 13th, 2025. Disclaimer, Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for whatever you awaken in the dark. So along with the reiteration of Edwin's name, which I am gonna get to Edwin's name. We finally know what MCN stands for. Murray's Costume Manor. Odd name for the company if I'm being honest, but you know what? I like it, so I don't care. Now, this largely falls in line with what we've expected and what we can gather from the trailer, but something I want to focus in on is the line heavily redacted corporate briefing. I won't get to that fully just yet, but just keep that in the back of your mind. Now, onto the trailer and the secrets it holds. We open on a shot of the road with a van driving down it. Now, interestingly enough, this appears to be the same van from the Help Wanted 2 update, which could imply that we're either transporting the Nexus machine currently, or we'll be bringing it along with us at the end of the game. As we can see from this entrance sign, we appear to be driving down the road to the warehouse. It's not lost on me that this is probably the same road where David Murray was hit by a van and killed. Like, not only is this the road in front of the warehouse, but like, we're a van driving down the road, and like, come on, you get the symbolism. Anyways, we get some narration from what appears to be the actual human voice behind Hand Unit. My personal little theory is that this may be Ron. In the Mimic, Ron was the supervisor of the teams who were sent out to retrieve the Mimic. I'm not going to say that's 100% what's going to happen, but given how much this game is directly pulling from that story, I could definitely see that being the case. Moving on to the interior, we get an Edwin Murray name drop, which drove me and my friends who were watching this absolutely insane. Hand Unit describes that Edwin has gone missing and left Fazbear Entertainment's technology in his warehouse. This again aligns with the Mimic Tale story, where after his son dies and Edwin destroys the Mimic, he disappears, leaving Fazbear Entertainment to attempt to retrieve their technology. Now, from what we can see inside this place, there's a lot of animatronic costumes and cardboard cutouts, like a dog, some kind of maybe bear, the bee that we saw from PAX, what might be casual bongos, a sheep, the frogs that were also shown off in PAX, and what might just be a cardboard cutout of the Jester animatronic from Tales. That is honestly so cool, and I'm really interested to see if that actually pans out to be him. Moving on, we get narration with Hand Unit telling us that we're specifically being sent to retrieve the Mimic, with Fazbear stating that Edwin built the technology for them, which is an interesting detail, which we'll get to later. From what we can see inside here, there's a pizza box on the couch, which is likely a pizza box from Fredbear's Family Diner, as people who played the demo at PAX noted that there were Fredbear's pizza boxes in the manager's office. We also see a poster warning about some kind of wiring, maybe faulty wiring or something like that. We see a machine with the MCN logo. We see the mushroom with some different colors to how it's portrayed later, which is interesting. And, most interesting, we see a bunch of drawings on this board. These drawings seem pretty childish, so I don't think it's a stretch to say that these drawings might be from David Murray. I mean, look at this one specifically. We have a taller person holding hands with a smaller person. Nothing definitive, but but it is interesting nonetheless. Next up we have a shot of these costumes, the dog, the elephant, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I have no idea what this is. Hand unit describes the mimic's functions and continues to generally be very, very suspicious. It's also interesting that the elephant costume looks noticeably different from how it seemed in Ruin. The guy's really gone through a lot the last few decades. Then, oh my god, we get a shot of a Tiger Rock mascot costume. This not only confirms our speculation about the Help Wanted 2 plush being a scaled down mascot costume, but seemingly confirms the existence of David Murray. Which, like, yeah, I know, it's a mascot costume, not the plush. But we all know what that tiger means. We're going to be seeing the plush in this game at some point. There is no other reason for a Tiger Rock character to be here. Which means that Fazbear Entertainment are probably lying to us. Edwin probably didn't build the Mimic for them. He built it for his son, much like he did in the book. This game seems to be a direct sequel to the book story, so I mean, of course. And this would align with the mention of a heavily redacted corporate briefing. Fazbear aren't being entirely honest with us. They just want the Mimic and whatever secrets it holds. Next, we get this shot of the chase sequence with Jackie hiding behind these bars and the little rat that we'll later see used in the trailer. This aligns with how the chase was described at PAX, as you had many people taking note of these little rats. Then we see a shot of the hallway with the elephant creaking its head towards us. Very interestingly, this shot has a bunch of posters from Fredbear's Family Diner. This appears to indicate that this is the same hallway from the demo that would lead down into the manager's office. It's also very interesting and quite odd that Edwin's warehouse would have a lot of Fazbear iconography like this. Obviously, he had the mascot costumes, but there was never any mention of posters and stuff like that. This could either mean that Fazbear has been in this factory more than they're letting on, or that the games are just taking liberties and adapting things from the books and aren't being entirely one-to-one. But I'm sure we'll find out once the game releases. And of course, we get a line warning us of death and dismemberment, because it wouldn't be a FNAF game without that. We also get some footage of Jackie popping down from the vent in the chase. She does seem to be a bit more disheveled, which matches descriptions from the demo. And then we see the mushroom costume. This costume did appear in Tales, but notably had a different color scheme, with the one that we see in the game instead being yellow and blue. However, considering that we also saw a different colored mushroom in the office, it's not impossible that we're also going to be seeing a mushroom costume that's more accurate to the one in Tales. We should also note that the Mimic's eyes in the costume look very different, and a lot of people have pointed out that the eyes could be built from oven burner coils. We can also make out that it's a different head from what we see in Ruin, which aligns with the Tales epilogues, as the Mimic's head, whenever it's down under the pizza plaque, appears silver and shiny, whereas the rest of its body appears burned. Eva Brave on Twitter speculated that the Mimic may have tried to repair itself after Edwin beat it up, resulting in it using oven burner coils for its eyes, which is a pretty interesting idea, and I'm a fan of that. Then we see a room with the elephant costume and a machine of some kind. It looks to be the same machine from the cameras shown off at PAX, and some kind of puzzle where we'll have to redirect the flow of something by turning the angles on these little pipes. There also appears to be something sticking out of the mascot costume here. Is that a hand? Then we get another shot of the puzzle in a little bit more detail, and interestingly, the little vent things seem to be gone, so maybe we'll have to pick them up around the factory as a gameplay mechanic. And yeah, that's a hand. That's a hand. That's a hand with a Fazbear Entertainment worker glove. That has a lot of implications. Either we came here as a part of a team and the Mimic is going to be killing off members of our team throughout the game, or that could be anyone from Dominic, Glenn, Harry, or I can't remember the name of the other guys, but they don't matter. Basically, these could be the previous team members from the Tales stories, and a part of the game could be discovering that we were not the only person sent here to retrieve the Mimic, and that everyone else met a very grisly fate. Then we see the Mailbot, and I love him. This is my son. I'm claiming him. He's mine. I love him. He's great, and I know that he's going to die, but I don't care because I love him. Oh, I love his little back to work line. He's so cute. This appears to be the same manager's office from the demo, and interestingly enough, there's also a prize on the desk, which means we might be getting a similar Easter egg system to Security Breach. The fact that there is a manager's office in here that does seem to have been in some kind of recent use does further highlight the differences between this factory and the one we saw in Tales, which either, again, could mean that the books aren't being adapted one-to-one in this game, or that Fazbear Entertainment isn't being entirely honest with us about how much they've been in this factory. My arch enemy Stick has speculated that this game is going to actually have a massive time jump from the events of the Mimic, and that Fazbear Entertainment actually had a hold of the factory for a time, before eventually losing control of the Mimic and retreating, now sending us in under the guise that we're just going into Edwin's old factory. I'm not as entirely sold on that, but it's an interesting idea that could have some merit to it, which you know is tough for me to say considering how much I hate Stick. Next up, we get a shot of us turning Jackie's lever from her box to open this gateway into a room which appears to be the same room from the cameras at PAX. Note the little white animatronic hand and the door. We also get a better look at our gloves and confirmation that those were indeed the same gloves on that body. And more of the mushroom. I love his silly little walk. We see the bee hanging from the ceiling and yeah, I don't even want to know what this thing is. This thing is worse than the Mimic. Then we get us on the roof, which outside of like mini games and stuff, is essentially our first time in a FNAF game ever actually playing outside a location. It's also snowing, which if we're assuming that this game is happening sometime after the events of the Mimic, would line up as that story ends sometime in like December or January if memory serves. As for what we're doing up here, my guess would probably be we're turning on some kind of generator to access something in the actual building. Then we get more of Tiger Rock in the shadows, which, oh, he's so cool. Then we get this very interesting shot. We see what looks like an early design for the Faz wrench and this little cake beside us. There's also the bee and some other cutouts with a curtain in the background. And then the terminal activates and oh my god, that's an early design for Helpy. Or as this game is calling him, Helper. We appear to be trying to activate some kind of welcome show, although we need executive access to do so. Once again, really odd for this kind of stuff to be in Edwin's factory, but we'll see how it goes. Then we get this. It's terrifying. I love it. Just a little look in the background. We get this little thing with a party hat. We get this swan, this head and a hand. And then we get this look at the character Dolly, who some people have speculated may be one and the same with the carnival nurse from Help Wanted 2. She looks horrifying and great, but something I want to hone in on here, if we look a little bit further below, we might actually be getting a look at what the Mimic's legs look like in this game. Now, it's unclear what exactly this room is, but I don't think I want to stay in here any longer. It's scaring me, so moving on. We get the little wind-up rat mechanic, which does appear to be some kind of distraction mechanism. This security office does also appear to be the same room as before in the trailer, with the little device on the door, the windows and such. Once again, kind of weird for this place to have a security office. There's also a bee, a Monty cutout, which does align with Tails as there was an alligator costume in Edwin's factory. Now, do we necessarily know this is Monty? Technically not, but I don't care. I'm calling him Monty. You can't stop me. This also gives a bit more credence to the idea that Andrew's alligator mask was actually Monty. We get some swans, and interestingly, we see the elephant costume in the background, though it doesn't appear to be moving, which could tell us that the Mimic will be getting in and out of costumes throughout the game and leaving the costumes in different areas, which definitely has a lot of fun jump scare potential. Like, imagine us walking down the corner, seeing the elephant costume standing there and thinking that the Mimic is in there, only to realize that it's actually just standing still. We also see this pig thing and a poster with what looks like our hard hat and gloves. Editing Jack here, I forgot to mention that it is very strange that this stuff is in Edwin's warehouse. Edwin was the only person there. There weren't other employees, so why would there be employee posters sprinkled around the building? Does this mean Fazbear had control over the facility? I'm not entirely sure, but it is very intriguing. Then we get some chase footage, which lines up with the demo, and Jesus Christ, Jackie looked absolutely terrifying. And a giant music man. Crashing through the ceiling. I don't know why Fazbear Entertainment needs this thing in the 70s, but I love it, so I don't care. And that's where the trailer seemingly ends. But just before we get the release date, we get a single frame of Tiger Rock once again, with another dead body beside him. Lovely. And then we get the release date, June 13th, 2025. Now I'm going to get into speculative territory, because this trailer is really interesting. This basically outright confirms that this game is going to be a sequel to the Mimic story rather than being set in Fall Fest or something like that. Unfortunately, I doubt we'll be seeing that in this game. But hey, that probably means we'll be seeing it again sometime soon. It does raise the question if we're going to be getting any other games in the past, but I wouldn't expect that just yet. In terms of where this game is going story-wise, I definitely think we're going to be finding out a lot about how Fazbear Entertainment is lying to us. Whether that be that they got a hold of the factory before, or that they just simply are lying about why the Mimic was made. I'm not entirely sure, but we're definitely going to find out one way or another. We're also going to be getting a lot of Edwin stuff in this game, considering they did just name drop him outright, which I really didn't expect. This also does debunk my theory that we would be playing as Edwin, but you know what? Considering we seem to be getting so much content revolving around him in this game, I honestly don't mind. I should also probably admit that given the thumbnail shows that Jackie has the same burner coil eyes as the mushroom, I was probably wrong about Jackie not being the Mimic. Then again, it's still likely that the Mimic will be taking control of things via its software rather than climbing inside them, considering that we get attacked by a giant music man. And unless the Mimic is piloting that thing like a mech, I doubt it's actually physically inside there. I think the one thing that I would say I hope this game does is not just reiterate stuff that we already know. Now, certainly I want this game to give fans who haven't engaged with the books the chance to learn that story through this game, but I also think it's important to include story details and little secrets that even people who have read the books will be surprised by. Essentially, I hope the secret in this game isn't just that, oh, Edwin made the Mimic for his son and he also infused it with his agony. I hope we learn a little bit more. And considering there's so much Fredbear's iconography in this game, I wouldn't be shocked if we also get a little bit of insight into William and Henry too. I mean, this basically is the 70s Origins game that Steel Will always really wanted to do, so I wouldn't be shocked if we get some of them. But yeah, I'm really excited for this game. I think it looks incredible and I'm very, very interested to see where it's taking the story. And honestly, I'm just very excited for the future of FNAF. And remember everyone, Scott has now listened to Jackie's box. It's gonna be in the game. You can't stop what's coming.